not a game, it's a rich thing.
What's up, y'all? This is Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. Y'all know the drill. Hit the subscribe button below, comment in the comment section, and hit the thumbs up. Let's jump into this review for Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 16. My first question is, where did this episode come from, y'all? Where did this episode come from? Because last week, the preview made it seem like the episode was going to be the other couples talking about the current season couples, not that that would be in replacement of the after party. And we would still have a full 2 hours of Married at First Sight we need to watch. Y'all, when I tell you I found out about this episode 5 minutes before it started from the Married at First Sight Facebook page, and I was like, what? Went to my TV guide and it was like, sure enough, a new episode. Child, my mind was already set on having a free night off from doing Married at First Sight. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, Jesus, take the wheel. We got 2 hours tonight. Okay, let's just jump into it and get started. Y'all can see I was already like in my cozy lounge clothes just to chill out. Sorry about my voice. The allergies have been on 1,000 today. A little bit of congestion, a little bit of sneezing, running. It's just, today's been a day, okay? But we still here to talk about the episode, y'all. So let's jump into it because I do have a lot of notes as usual. So we see Mitch opens the episode hanging with his nieces, asking what he should say on decision day. One niece says yes, the other niece says hell no. Well, she don't say hell no, but she says no. We then see Justin feeding Newton. Since, you know, Newton is the chosen one, Maya had to go. Stasha lets us know that she isn't sure if she can talk to her husband without triggering him. And when I saw that kind of snippet from her, I was like, this is so random. Where did the production team pull this from to insert it here? Because it just seemed so out of place at the very beginning of the episode. Krysten and Mitch open up. Krysten says that she and Mitch are in a good place, but she is confused and doesn't know what to do. I think she only thinks they're in a good place when they aren't disagreeing and when he isn't being completely awful to her, because other than that, to me, they have no real potential of being, you know, husband and wife. But anyway, they apply face masks to each other. Mitch gives her the definition of body with the WDY and says it supposedly means humorous sex. I don't think so. Or maybe just us in the black community use body as in you got body, yada, 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 yada. So I don't know where he got that from. But okay, Mitch. Stasha then meets with her friend and she tells her that married life has been difficult and told her about their recent argument about, you know, him moving in with her, and then if the potential of them actually not being together, kind of what's going to happen to him, where he going to go. And then we see him, he's on FaceTime with his dad and a friend, basically telling them the exact same concerns. His dad says there's always going to be nervous tension in the beginning and really y'all just have to compromise. Stasha friend tells her that she is really rooting for them, but asks if, you know, he is the right man for her. And she says that, you know, they're similar. She thinks that, you know, he has the right things for her, but she also thinks that she's in a different place emotionally and really that he lacks experience. Nate's friend asks if there are any cons in their relationship, and he tells them about her wanting kids since, you know, she's a little bit older than he is, and talking about, you know, having fun and having kids. And his dad is like, well, you kind of got to do what you got to do, but you can do it. And Nate seems to kind of accept that coming from his dad. Stasha then tells her friend that it concerns her that he has not been in love. And he was just going through the motions in his previous relationship. And she's really wondering if the same thing will happen to them. When Nate is asked what he will say on decision day, he says he doesn't want to feel pressured to do anything and it's scary, but he does not give us an answer, of course. Next, we see Lindy talking to her sister via video chat as well to catch her up on the marriage. She tells her that the past week and a half has been lots of miscommunication between, you know, her and Miguel. But her sister is completely distracted because the kids is in the background. Obviously, her husband, significant other, whoever can't handle the kids without her. So the sister is getting distracted and Lindy's like, don't do that around Miguel because, you know, he gets upset if I get distracted. And her sister essentially plays out exactly how Lindy acts when she gets distracted by a bird, a squirrel, a dog, somebody on their phone, any old random thing. And Lindy continues to think this is funny. This is not funny, nor is it cute for you to get this distracted by such minor things. I need you to concentrate more on focusing on what's at hand in front of you, girl. She then tells her sister that he really stonewalls her and shuts her down when she does something wrong. The sister asks if this is a new behavior, and Lindy says yes, but in my mind, I'm like, this has only been 2 months. So yes, it's a new behavior from what you've seen, I guess, over the past 6 weeks with him. But can we say this is really new because you haven't seen all sides of him, obviously. So this just may be a part of his behavior. Her sister really doesn't have really any real advice to give and tells her that, but says it's really important to give the most to the person that is in need at the moment. The sister is starting to tear up, child. She seems like she has her own issue going on, and this is just drudging up all that for her. So she really don't have no encouraging words for Lindy at the moment. Krysten then meets with her friend and says she's feeling at peace, calm, and like she's gotten everything off of her chest with Mitch, and she's just trying to decide if she should continue. She says there's a lot of good there, which is why the decision is so hard, but she yet is still complaining about him, how he does not affirm her, or how she wants this really great grand gesture from him. And I'm just like, Krysten, that isn't Mitch. Like, I think she's continually to search for something that he just cannot provide to her because it's not innately in him to say or do these things that she actually needs. He's not a words of affirmation kind of guy. Her friend asks if she has the time to give him the opportunity to change, and she answers talking about her eggs gonna be dehydrating if, you know, they say yes and then he doesn't change and she's wasting more time. Girl, that's not answering the question, okay? So next we see Alexis and Justin video chatting with their moms. Justin talks to his mom about, you know, giving up Maya, and basically tells her that to him, giving up the dog was supposed to be an automatic yes on decision day. Don't let me give up my dog if you then not going to stay married to me. His mom tells him that, you know, you can't really be maneuvering with life off of assumptions like that because you could be trying to get to the, you know, coffee shop across the street and get hit by a car. And I was like, damn, mama, did we have to go there? Did we really have to go there with this scenario? Okay. Alexis' mom then asks her about decision day, and Alexis says she is split and that Justin is in his head so much and he does not invite her to these scenarios. I do agree with Alexis on that, and I can be that person sometimes as well, and that I'm working on that with myself, okay? Don't mind my business. Mind the business of the TV show. So Justin's mom asks if he wants to say no, and he says 2 days ago it was a no, and he tells her that he is afraid that he can't please her sexually because she always wants him to be so dominating in the bedroom. And Justin's mama tells her to get freaky, and I said, Mama, well, I guess that's advice to give your son. I don't really know at this point. But mama says, you know, if she doesn't want to be with him because of that or all these other things, then maybe she ain't the one for you. Alexis tells her mom that if they are struggling this much with training wheels, i.e., I'm assuming she's talking about the experts, then what happened once they come off? And I was like, these experts, these other couples y'all talking to, none of this ain't helping. So I'm not sure how you think these are training wheels for y'all, if that's what you meant. Mitch then meets with his brother to give him an update, and he says that it seems Krysten is finally comfortable with being herself, and she's just really fun and goofy. That's not really the words that a woman really wants to hear, Mitch. They're just, you know, I like you because you're fun and goofy. Well, not all the time. Sometimes I want to be serious. Sometimes I want to be sexy. Sometimes I want to be flirty. Sometimes I want to be, you know, have intellectual conversation. Like, all that has to turn you on, not just me being funny and goofy. So he says that, you know, they left their trip on a positive note, and then he, you know, had to go on his trip, and it kind of put him back into his old life. And he's just trying to figure out how difficult he's finding it to be married to her and still kind of have his normal everyday life, because where he's used to maybe, you know, surfing multiple times a week, riding his bike multiple times a week, since he's been married, he has not done those things. And I think we talked about this the last video, like, we understand that, Mitch, but at the same time, Krysten has not asked you to not do these things. She has even, you know, joined in with you with the surfing and brought the damn dog to go surfing to try to engage into the activities you want. It's just not good enough for you. And y'all two just need to leave it alone. Just hang it up, child. But he says that he thinks there is potential for them to be great and he has love for her, but he is not in love with her. He says they really have a great partnership, and the brother tells him that he doesn't think he truly understands how rare it is to just find that a great partnership in someone. He says, you know, if it is an emphatic yes that she wants, and she deserves to get that, and he just basically isn't sure if he can get that to her. His brother says that, you know, convincing her that he wants to spend more time with her may be enough. And I said, convincing her that he wants to try this out for a little bit more time? Convincing her. Okay. We then see the couples go driving in these little mini cart, go-karts, whatever they are, as the final group outing. And I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus. We are at the final group outing because I am totally tapped out with group outings. Okay. Nate is complaining, you know, that Mitch is complaining that all he can smell is the exhaust from Nate's car and really wish that they had an electric one like Justin and Alexis, which I'm assuming they got because they're so tall. So all the couples then grab some food. They're going to sit and talk. Krysten, you know, talks about having the meat sweats the night before, so she wants to eat some salads and stuff. Miguel asks how everyone is feeling, and of course, Alexis, being the messy person that she is, automatically flips and was like, well, how are y'all doing? You know, the last time we saw y'all, things were a little bit shaky, so how are things going at this point? Miguel says he started having serious doubts. Justin shares that he was really in his head a lot, and it was a firm no, but says it finally clicked to him of how much of his head he is in most of the time once he's talked to his mom. Nate says that he and Stasha need to learn how to communicate better, and says she says that he has a lack of emotional relationship experience, and that can irritate her at times because she has to explain a lot of things to him because of that. And I was like, damn, Stasha, you just made it sound like this man was a child, and you just got to break things all the way down for him to understand exactly the words that are coming out of your mouth. Is that what you really meant? Because that was a little harsh. She says that it made her feel bad that he acted like she can't be a fun parent when she told him that. But then when he talked to his dad, and his dad was like, yeah, that you can make that work, that he was okay with it coming from his dad versus coming from her, because he gave her doubt that that was even possible. Mitch then tells the group it isn't 100% clear yet on what either him or Krysten will say. Alexis asks if there's enough time to shift either of their perspective, and Krysten says, you know, she continues to want really these words of affirmation and really to say that, you know, he's all in and wants these things. Krysten, if you have blatantly told this man time and time again what it is that you need to say yes to stay in this marriage, and he still has not said those things, that is your answer, my good girl. Your answer is no from him, because he can't say he isn't sure. There's gray area as to what he needs to say or do because you've told him. So at that point, if he does not do it, he's making a conscious effort not to do it because he does not mean those things and he does not want to stick around. Girl, quit looking desperate. Golly, just leave him so he can go surf and ride his bike as much as his little heart desires, child. So Mitch and Krysten go on a date, and why Krysten has this buffalo plaid flannel shirt over what is a cute little sexy dress that has the girls hanging out, I'm not exactly sure. You could have found a cuter jacket or sweater or something if that's what you were using it for, because you're just a little chilly, okay? Krysten tells him how grateful she is for him and this experience, but asks what their life would look like if they both said yes. Mitch says that they wouldn't have to move too quick, and, you know, they should basically take, you know, a few days or a week or something to kind of, you know, reset and spend some days apart, is what I understood it as. Krysten tells him that she doesn't do well with blurred lines, and his vision of what life would be like after decision day seems a bit more grayer than she wants it to be. Mitch says in a perfect world, she would love more of a commitment and declaration from him, and he absolutely knows that. Again, he knows what you want, but he just won't give it to you because he doesn't want to. He asks her if he says yes but doesn't declare his love, if that would be good enough. And y'all know Krysten, she does not care if Mitch gives her a little mustard seed of hope, honey. She's going to take it and run with it. So, of course, she's like, yes, I'll take anything I can get. Yes. Krysten, I hope you watch this stuff back and realize how much you started bending and breaking yourself to please this man. Girl, stop it. Just stop diminishing yourself so much for Mitch. Like, it's beginning to be so frustrating at this point of the season of you just feeling like you have to take any little piece of hope he gives you when that's not what you want. That's not what you want, girl. Mitch says he wished he would have played it cooler in the beginning at the honeymoon, and she continues to not want him to beat himself up for it. No, let him beat himself up for it because that was uncalled for. He says he's afraid to lose her and doesn't want to lose her. And of course, she completely lights up and it's like, oh, girl, please. We then see Alexis and Justin. They're having a date. He is waiting on her with a bouquet of sunflowers because that's her favorite flower. Alexis shows up, of course, slaying, y'all. She might be the messiest person, I don't think, in Married at First Sight history, but she's definitely the messy MVP of this season. But what she gonna do is show up with that face beat every single time, okay? And the hair done every single time. And I love her for that. I love her for that piece of it. But the mess, she can definitely keep. So they have the same conversation about him being in his head, trying to predict the future, blah, blah, blah. Alexis says she's still sitting at 90%, but asks him about where he is because, you know, she is worried that basically he never would have come around to him recognizing that he's in his head a lot. She says it's not all about him and she needed to create a safer space for him and ask him what he needs. And he says her initiating intimacy, you know, not all the time, but sometimes. Alexis says if they, you know, stay together, they would really need to work on consistency and communication. But, you know, this isn't best friends at first sight. This is married at first sight. And maybe we are better off as friends. Alexis, stop playing with this man's head and his emotions. You keep dropping these little nuggets along the way so that I guess he can hopefully pick up on the hint of we gonna just be friends because I'm still not gonna stay with you when we have decision day in just a couple days. Lindy and Miguel go to a winery. They have wine. They got a little charcuterie board. Miguel admits that he ruined their last winery visit. I think both of y'all ruined it because her pointing out everything that she saw and you trying to have, you know, your little battle rap poem situation going on. It was just too much all at one time, okay? But he says it's good, you know, for them to make it up for her because that's not who he is or who he wants to be. She says she also needs to reassess if it's too much to filter herself. And I want her to, again, to stop acting like her being herself is going to run him off. If it runs him off, girl, then he needs to run off. Like, you can't sit here and try to imagine living your life filtering yourself every single day or filtering yourself for so long. And then when you can't do it anymore, y'all then get divorced 5-10 years later and you wasted your time. Like, that makes zero sense to me. Okay. Like, I just don't get it. But he says her strong personality really overwhelms him sometimes, and it catches him off guard, and it really scares him because her emotions can be a little bit hard to handle. And I don't blame her for that because she goes from 0 to 100 real quick, and she thinks her 100 is like a 40, and everybody else kind of looking at her like, girl, what? I need you to calm down. He says he isn't sure he can be the husband she needs, and I can respect Miguel for saying that because I think she does need a special type of man to deal with her. Stasha and Nate, we also see them at a winery, and she asks if there's anything they need to talk about before decision day. Y'all, we already know this is about to be good because this is what the previews had showed us and what we've seen on Mav's IG page, okay, with him kind of getting frustrated with her. So Nate asks, you know, basically if she is all in and asks about her flaws, which I think Nate really didn't have nothing to say, but try to just make up something to say because you want to know her flaws at this point in the game. Like, come on, Nate. She tells him that she thinks she has shared all her flaws with him. So she then asks him about this love thing. Now they are 2 months in, and he says it's still way too early. He could see himself, falling in love with her, being in love with her, but it's just too soon. He says this is still so new to him, and over time I will open up more. Just even the simple things of just walking around naked in front of you, like I'm not ashamed or embarrassed, but it's just still so new. She says she isn't sure he will ever have that feeling because he's never experienced it in his adult life. And she says that is one of her concerns because he was in a relationship for 2 years and didn't love his partner. Girl, you cannot base your current experience with him with what he did some years ago, okay? If you don't want him holding over that you cheated however many years ago, you can't keep holding over him that he was with somebody for 2 years and didn't love them. Both of y'all need to get over it. She says he goes through the motions, but if he was in love with her, it would be deeper. Nate then tells her that is messed up because it's basically saying that my affection isn't enough. Nate says he feels like he won't be able to make her happy or please her, and she will get bored easily and feels that he isn't in love with her. And she's like, but you don't love me. And I'm like, Stasha, girl, I want to smack you in the face. He's not talking about right now. He's talking about the future. The future, honey, not the right now. How you don't get that? She then says, Nate just hears a few words from her and then really just runs with his own narrative. He then points out the tattoo that we know they've gotten of their wedding date and says that that is a level of commitment. And she says, but I still, do you have the burning desire? I just don't feel the burning desire of love from him. Stasha, you want some fairy tale movie or novel because what the hell exactly is a burning desire of love? How do you define what a burning desire of love for someone is? Huh? You can define it for yourself, but you can't then try to tell this man that he isn't meeting your expectation of a burning desire of love. Girl, you've read too much Danielle Steele novels back in the day. Child. So Nate walks off and says he is done because he says he's done enough to show that he's committed. He says, even if he says, I love you, how do you know it's real? And how do I know you feel this burning desire? And I'm like, exactly, Nate. Exactly. Like, you are almost at the point where you're trying to peer pressure or bully this man into saying, I love you. And then if he does, then your next question is going to be, well, do you mean it? No, he don't mean it. He's just trying to get you to shut up. So he tells her straight up, I don't love you. I've known you for 2 months. And she says, she understands that. She just needs to know that they are working towards love. And my question is, Stasha, well, what do you think this man has been showing you for almost the past 8 weeks? Has this not been working towards love like you say you want? I don't think that's the truth. You want love in this very moment. He can't give that to you, honey. Like, y'all, she is exhausting, honey. She will just never be satisfied. And I think at this point, she's playing basically a game with the words because every time he says something, she's like, but I didn't say that, but I didn't say that. You're not coming out and necessarily saying the exact same words that he is saying, but everything that he is saying, he can definitely infer from what you are telling him. Like, it's not completely out of left field what he is saying and inferring based on the words that you are saying. So you playing mind games at this point, Stasha, and you really getting on my nerves. Like, he says he's tired of going in circles with her and they just done with the conversation. We then go back to Krysten and Mitch, and she asks for Luna to sleep in the bed with him on their last night together. He says yes. Luna is basically like, hell no, no thank you. They chase her around the house to clean her little wrinkly folds. Luna continues to kind of want out of this bed, but she sits and eventually falls asleep, I guess. They have a little family meeting reflecting on the last 8 weeks, and Mitch says that she has really made him a better person to recognize his gaps that he has. Mitch tells her that she's a beautiful person. They both share that they have love for each other. But again, it seems to be gray on if it's friend zone love or actually romantic love. And I don't think it's any romance anywhere in that. Back over to Alexis and Justin. They're spending their last night together. And Justin says, he's cool. He's come to terms with a yes or no. She continues to tell him that she doesn't know what to do and isn't sure if it's because he's had this realization about himself so late. And that realization that he had was really her main frustration with him. Alexis, just get off my TV. Because then she's saying that she needs all this affirmation from him as well. And I'm like, this is the last night together. What affirmation is he supposed to tell you right now to make you say yes on decision day? Shut up. Stasha and Nate. Stasha says that Nate basically just blew up again and had a tantrum, and she takes no responsibility for what happened. And this just pisses me off even more about Stasha. Like, you can't be mad at his reaction, but you not recognizing the part that you played in that whole situation of him blowing up. Girl, she just thinks that she is so perfect, and I guess she is just completely floored as to how this man is not head over heels in love with her, because she's perfect. She's a catch. How does he not love her? Stasha, newsflash, you are not. You have a lot of work you still need to do on yourself, just as if you pointing out that Nate doesn't have all this experience and maturity or whatever. You have some things you need to work on as well to be a good spouse to someone. Like, it's not all on him. She asks him what he enjoys about being married to her, and he really has to think about it. Like, it is a long pause and moment of silence, and y'all know this is completely killing her for him just not to come out the gate and list all these things that he enjoys about being married to her. He says the friendship aspect is what he likes. He really likes that, she's herself. He likes her for who she is. She says she has really tried to be honest and transparent with him, and she has no regrets. And he's like, same thing. And the minute he says that, you can see in her face that she's like, I wanted to say that, and I wanted that to sting a little bit. I wasn't expecting you to come back to me and say I had no regrets either. Like, what? And the minute he said that, she's like, so you don't take back spazzing on me? And he's like, I regret it. We're human. We make mistakes. And, as far as me lashing out, he says, I'm sorry if that's the answer that you're looking for. And I said, the games that y'all two play with each other, the games that y'all play. She asks if it will continue to happen. She says no. She tells him about using the tools given to them from the experts. He said, understood. And you can see all over Nate's face that he just wants her to shut up at this moment. He really means nothing that he's saying. He has no other thoughts or feelings behind it other than, let me give you the answers that you want so we can go to bed and you can be quiet about the situation. You can see it all over his face. I just want her to realize he isn't going to be perfect every time. Like, yes, y'all have tools. That does not mean every single argument or discussion y'all have, he's going to say, pause, let me use the tools that the expert has given me. It's not going to be that way. And Stasha, for him to say that he came back to you like an hour later using the tools, like, stop it. Stop it at this point, because you're trying to give the impression like this man is not even trying, when in reality he actually is trying. You getting on my nerves. The fact that she can't control his emotions, it's really killing her at this point. And I'm just like, that's going to be your downfall for every single relationship for you going forward, Stasha. You cannot control the reactions or emotions of other people. You are only in charge of yourself, my darling. This is not a business deal. This is real life, a relationship. Okay? So Nate is verbalizing himself, I feel like, very well during this discussion. And what he is saying is spot on. And he is just completely exhausted with her. And so are we. He says he really wants to be happy, and he will choose happiness over marriage any day. And child, if they stay together, Stasha ain't gonna never let him forget that. Okay? Ever. All right? We are 1 day until decision day. Each partner, that is leaving the shared apartment is packing up their bag for their last night alone. Alexis says that Justin may stalk her. If she says no, girl, don't flatter yourself that much. She says, she has a fear of being all in. Girl, well, that's not new. You have had all these other proposals that you have not accepted. Yes, you have a fear of being all in. Justin says he trusts himself to make the right decision. He just doesn't know what that is. Miguel's preparing to leave. Lindy says she is mentally prepared for whatever decision it is, but she really wants to make sure she's putting herself first. They both admit their wrongdoings. I'm not about to rehash these last few weeks with them because they just keep having the same conversation over and over and over again. Krysten tells Mitch that she is nervous for decision day and she needs the alone time to decide what she's going to say. She then asks Mitch her question she asked him earlier about, if they say yes, what their relationship will look like. She says, well, since you want us to live separately for a little bit, then I guess that's what we'll do. But Krysten, Mitch ends up correcting it, but Krysten, why would you just go along with whatever he says just to appease him? Like, why wouldn't you say I wouldn't be happy with that and I would want us to discuss that? Why are you just like, well, that's what you wanted, so I guess that's what we'll do? Mitch is not the end all be all and the person that you just makes all the decisions for y'all. Like, that makes no sense, Krysten. Well, he ends up telling her that isn't what he meant for them to live separately, but to slow things down and some other gibberish he said. And I said, well, still, exactly what does that mean? Krysten just, nods her head. Yes, she understands, but I'm still confused as to what the hell he means, y'all. She tells him, he's been a really good partner in a lot of ways, but really trying to think about if they complement each other long term. They say they both really want to say yes, but really need to evaluate how that translates into a life together. Krysten, Mitch will never be able to give you the love and affirmation you desire, child. He just can't. You either deal with it or you move on. Mitch says, kinder things in his confessional I recognize than he actually tells her. And in my mind, y'all, he does this so that he doesn't give her the expectation or assumption that he's going to say yes on decision day, because he just essentially doesn't want to get her hopes up that they will be together. So let me maybe say kinder things to her in the confessional and then in front of her face act like I barely like her, just to keep them on their toes, okay? So then all the partners are now leaving the shared apartment. Everyone kisses each other but Stasha and Nate. And then when he leaves out, Stasha does this dramatic wall slide. Like, I can't believe it. He just left me and, pass out because he's leaving me. She says she's feeling really confused and, she's not as optimistic as she was before. Nate says the last week has really been the hardest and he respects her as a person, but really wants her to just trust her gut. Krysten says because Mitch is so unsure, that's why she is so nervous. But Mitch tells us he is confident in his decision. Alexis shows us going to bed with her beat face, honey, like highlight and all, okay? Justin says he's just ready to get decision day over with, child. Lindy says she thinks her and Miguel are on the same page, and he says he just will let the cards fall where they may. And that's how the episode ends, y'all. We are this close to being done with this raggedy ass season. I hope they give all the decisions next week because there is no need for us to go into 2 weeks of decisions. One more episode of decision day, and I guess we'll probably have 2 episodes of a reunion, and hopefully we can put season 15 to rest, y'all. So let me know what y'all thought about this impromptu episode for me. Maybe I was the only one not prepared, but let me know what y'all thought about the episode. Really let me know y'all thoughts down below in the comments about Stasha and Nate, because when the season first started, I thought Nate was gonna be the one to tear my nerves up being an F-boy. But I have liked Nate most of the season, and Stasha is the one between the two of them that has tore my nerves all the way up. Actually, this season, the women have all tore my nerves up more than the men. Every last one of these women have gotten on my nerves throughout this season. And while the men aren't great, I've enjoyed the men this season much more than I've enjoyed the wives. Maybe I'm alone in that. But y'all let me know. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below. And I will catch y'all in the next video next week. Peace.